My name is Mary Jane Harbottle. Everybody calls me MJ. And the first course that I did with you was getting started in crime fiction. Quite simply, I wasn't. The most I'd ever done was perhaps scribble down a few ideas and pop them in a file for a kind of like, do that later when I get round to it. These are my ideas. And that was it. It was no more than that. I'd done nothing more than that. I hadn't written anything in particular. I'd scribbled down a few ideas, nothing more. I thought it would be something that I'd like to have a go at, doesn't everybody? Everybody imagines that they've got a book in them. But I really wanted to have a go, and I was quite serious about having a go, which is why I signed up to one of the courses. Doing the exercises, I thought that was great fun. They were so interesting and so varied, and it pushed me right outside my comfort zone. So for me, that was an absolutely fantastic experience, having to actually sit and think about creating something from scratch, according to whatever the exercise was asking us to do. So I found that absolutely marvelous, and it really got my brain working in a totally different way, in a way that I'd never done before. I think I particularly enjoyed the dialogue exercise. I found that absolutely fascinating because I kept going over and over in my head trying to work out whether this was natural. And in the end, what I kept doing was reading my dialogue out to my husband and seeing whether it did sound natural. So I really found that quite fascinating, and that's something that's really stuck with me about the dialogue. Well, my course tutor was Nicola Upson, the author, and she is the author of the Josephine Tey series, the fictional version of Josephine Tey. So she's a very successful, very well-known author. And interestingly, my late mother-in-law's favourite author. So my late mother-in-law would have been delighted to have known that she was my course tutor. I found Nicola absolutely wonderful. I was completely blown away by her support, her humour, her feedback was absolutely fantastic. I mean, it wasn't that it was always good feedback, because obviously you're learning, excuse me, but I found her feedback to be so thoughtful. That's what I loved about it. And I really, really enjoyed that part about it, and being able to discuss these sorts of things with her. I found her very attentive. I found her very approachable, and I just can't praise her enough. I thought she was absolutely brilliant. Really just everything I learned. I was such a complete beginner. I really was a kind of sort of babe in the woods when I started the course. And it got me thinking not just about writing and about creating, but even how words go down onto the page. And Nicola gave me all sorts of invaluable advice, and it's advice that I still reflect upon when I am writing. And quite often I will stop something and look at it and think, now what would Nicola say here? So really just everything I learnt on the course I apply all the time. There's just nothing that I don't really, sort of not think about anymore. So absolutely everything I learned from her, I still use. So what I've been doing since then, encouraged by Nicola, I started entering some pieces into writing competitions, some literary competitions, and to my absolute amazement, I've actually done reasonably well, which is marvellous. It really is. So although I've not actually won anything, I've been longlisted several times. I've been shortlisted several times. I've had a couple of, highly commended. The best I've ever managed is third place, but I thought that was pretty good. So, from a standing start. And then the most thrilling thing that I've done is that I decided rather rashly to enter a short story into the Marjorie Allingham short story competition, which is run by the Crime Writers Association on an annual basis. And to my absolute amazement, I actually got longlisted in that. which was incredible because I wrote the story in 3 days flat just before the deadline, even though you have months and months to do it because I work as well. It was, quite difficult to find the time. And when I looked at the list, I was the only person on the list who hadn't published a book. So I actually felt that up against all those brilliant authors, I actually did quite well. Didn't get any further, but oh my goodness, just to be on that long list was the most amazing feeling. I just squealed with delight when I saw my name on the list. So that was absolutely brilliant, to have a bit, to have achieved that. So those are the sorts of things that I've been doing, trying to squeeze them in between work because I have quite a busy working life. So yeah, I've been doing that. Oh my goodness, chalk and cheese. When I look back on when I first started writing, and I've still got it all in a folder, of course. Occasionally I go back just to remind myself how far I've come. And I look at it and I just think, oh my God, it's so embarrassing. Adjectives all over the place, and definitely wasn't following the less is more rule. It's just come on in leaps and bounds. And of course, that was, thanks to Nicola to start with, and then, learning more as I go along. Oh, well, that's my big project. Again, encouraged by Nicola, I decided I wanted to write something much longer. And so I am attempting, and I stress the attempting, I'm attempting to write a full-length crime fiction novel. Of course, I realise that it's a market which is completely saturated, and we're all trying to find something which is original, so I hope mine is going to be a little bit original. And I also have a mentor who is mentoring me through that, another writer, another female writer, and I'm finding that incredibly helpful. So we meet every couple of months and discuss what I'm doing. She reads some of my stuff and gives me that sort of feedback that I really, really enjoy. I am somebody who thrives on feedback. If anybody is thinking about taking one of these courses up, you must accept that you're going to get feedback and you might not always agree with it. But I'm somebody who thrives on feedback, even if it's very harsh and even if it's quite strict. I think that is a good thing. And so that's what I'm doing at the moment, trying to squeeze it in between work and everything else, of course. So goodness only knows how long it's going to take. But I've knocked out about 24,000 words so far. So I'm about a quarter of the way through it. So ask me again in a year how I'm getting on. I mean, I'd only just say to people, if you're thinking about doing one of these courses, then do. It really is. It's great fun. You'll be, in a little group with other people that you can, discuss your progress with. The tutors are fantastic. I had the most wonderful experience, and I feel that it's very much been a springboard for me to what I'm doing now. So, you never know. I might actually sell more than 10 books when I finally get round to finishing mine.